All right. Hey, welcome to Rickreall Dairy. And I see a lot of schools from Klamath Falls. There's also a school that is one of my favorites, Faith Christian School. And I see Gabe sitting in the very front row. So good to see you, Gabe, and everybody else that's there. From Silverton and Paisley, Troutdale, Newport, welcome to Rickreall Dairy. We're excited to have you guys visiting us today. As you can see, these calves are getting ready for feeding, and we keep our calves in this area here for only 7 days until they go to our larger group housing. But first, let me tell you a little bit about our dairy. I'm a third generation farmer. My mom and dad live in San Diego, and I came from San Diego. So actually, I'm a first generation, but my wife's family has a history of dairy farming. We've been here in Rickreall now for almost 30 years. Next month will be 30 years. We're celebrating our anniversary. And we are milking 1,700 cows today. And those animals will produce right at 17,000 gallons of milk a day. So when you see a green and white Milky Way truck going down the highway, that has 12 hours worth of milk in it from our dairy. One of those leaves our farm every 12 hours. So we employ 26 people. My son Nate works with me. My daughter Stacy is behind the camera, and she's working for the Oregon Dairy Nutrition Council along with and we've partnered with Oregon Ag in the Class to bring you guys these series of outdoor schools, of virtual tours. Teachers, if you want to look and learn and teach your classes a little bit more about how we raise our calves, you can go to the Ag in the Class website, and there's a virtual tour that we did about a year ago now in the last winter, and it explains in depth how we raise our calves over in our calf barn. Today we're going to concentrate mainly on the economics of milking and feed costs and how we mix our feed. And so we've got a lot to cover today. And so without going any further, we're going to go into the milking parlor, and we're going to show you guys a little bit about where we milk our cows. So come along with me. Like I was saying, we milk 1,700 cows. We have on the dairy 1,950 total cows. And then there's another 1,900 what we call young stock or heifer calves. They're girl calves, and they are all from birth to 23 months of age. So from one day old to 20, almost 2 years old, there's another 18 or 1,900 of them. So we're coming into the milking parlor, and these milkers have been here since 6 o'clock this morning, and they're actually working a 12-hour shift today. That's in here goes on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. In the last 30 years, we have never shut this barn down for other than an electrical outage or a catastrophic failure on a machine, on a motor or something like that, to where we couldn't milk cows. And so the guys that are in the milking barn right now have been working for us for between 25 and 30 years. Okay, these cows just exited. That was the loud noise you heard. And they are going to go back to their corral, and they're going to first drink some water, and then they're going to get some food. And so, and you can see the guy walking in here to push them back and bring them back to their corrals. Now, if you come look inside here, on this side over here, you can see that this particular animal her number is 1754, right there, 1,754. And she's given 18 pounds of milk so far. And that number will continue to climb as she's giving her milk and her production right down here. Um, so the trick with dairy farming is to try to get as much milk as we can out of the cows with the best quality and nutrition we can get, and yet keep our feed costs down. That's our biggest expense when it comes to dairy farming. Okay, so on this side, I just want to quickly explain to you what's going on. We sprayed these down with a 0.5% iodine, and that's what they're wiping off. That sanitizes the outsides of the teats. Okay, so they're nice and clean. We don't care what the legs look like. We don't care about any how clean this is. All we want are these cleaned right here, because that's where the machine goes on and connects. And to milk a cow, you have to go like that. Start from the top and work your way down. They generally don't like it when we milk them by hand because they're not used to that. And so we put the machine on. When the machine comes off, that's happening on this side as they come off. Now we're back to 1754, and she's up to 26 pounds of milk right now, and she's almost finished. Oh, here she comes. It's off. So she comes off. Now the milkers will come and they'll put that on. It's a 1% iodine, and that seals, kind of like seals the hole of the end of their teat, so bacteria can't go back up inside there. And so when they go outside, it takes a while for that hose to close, the hole to close. While it's doing that, we've got it kind of plugged with iodine, and that will all just get absorbed. So these animals are all finished and ready to go. So we're going to look at a couple different scenarios while we're in here. A scenario of a cow giving 80 pounds of milk with a 3.5% butterfat. And this is part of it's kind of a math equation that we're going to do. And they should have a PowerPoint that they're going to put on the screen. And so we're going to look at two different scenarios. The first scenario is one cow to the 80-pound cow with 3.5% butterfat. She gives us based on a daily rate, 2.8 pounds of butterfat a day. And that butterfat's valued at $2.25 a pound. That's what I get paid for, okay? So that equals $6.30 per cow per day, okay? That's my income. The second scene that we're gonna look at is the same cow giving 80 pounds, but now we've changed her ration, and you're gonna learn more about the rations later. We've changed the ration to get 4.0% butterfat. So we've brought the amount of butterfat that the cow is producing up to 3.2 pounds of butterfat. So we take that 3.2, multiply it by $2.25. That comes to $7.20 in value. So now we've got the two scenes. We got a $6.30 a day value that I'm getting paid, and we've got a $7.20 value that I'm getting paid, for a difference of 90 cents for that cow in one day, okay? So to put that into perspective, times 1,700 cows, that would equal $1,530 every day, okay, in more income for me. Multiply that times 30 days, which is 30 days in a month, comes to an extra income of $45,900 just by changing the ration formula from 3.5% to get 4% milk out of our cows. And across the nation, that's what dairymen are trying to do now. We're not trying to get a whole lot of milk. We used to average 90, 92 pounds of milk. but now the components are worth so much more than the fluid that we're selling our milk by component. This is just one aspect of how things are priced, okay? And you can see, teachers, and you can go through the story problem that I had to go through in order to figure out and calculate, and I do this on a daily basis with virtually everything that we do, okay? And we're gonna go out into the feed alley pretty soon, and we're gonna look at the different ingredients that we've got for feed and try to come up with some sort of a ration that would get me 80 pounds of milk and 4% butterfat for as cheap as I possibly can get. And that's the dollars and cents in the dairy industry. So let's come with me. We'll take questions later. I know teachers have gotten a box or of some sort that will help you understand a lot of what we just talked about. But we're going to go for a walk out here right between the animals, and we're going in areas that when we have dairy tours and we have, 50 little kindergartner kids, they can't go where we're going to go because it's just not safe. So come follow me. We're going to go back out the way the cows go out. Hey, Alberto. Okay, so here's our holding area. And the cows actually, they're all in the holding area right now waiting to be milked. This gate here, right behind me, will open up. This gate opens up, slides over, and these animals will then go in and get milked. We're at the end of our shift here. At 2 o'clock, we generally shut down and do a full wash up and sanitize and clean everything. And so they're getting ready for that. In this alley where all the cows walk, there are footbeds. And where I'm standing right now would be a bath full of water. And we do that to clean their feet, and we put some copper sulfate in the water, and that helps keep their feet hard. It's kind of like getting a pedicure in the middle of the day, and they walk through that twice a day. You can see some of we've got some construction going on over here. They're actually installing all new footbaths for us this week so that we can do a better job with it. I'm hoping you can hear me over the noise of the cows. These animals are getting ready to go into the milking parlor and give their milk. Okay, here comes our feed wagon. And Uriel has been feeding cows for me for almost 25 years. And each full-sized animal eats about 110 pounds of food a day. So teachers, you can do the math on that. 110 times 1,700 cows, and that's how much just the milk cows get fed. And they come through this wagon being pulled by this truck. Now it's really impressive. He's gonna come right up to us, and we're actually gonna go take a look inside the wagon so that you guys can see and get a good vision virtual of how this comes together and how it mixes. So, and you can see this thing's huge. It's huge. And there are scales on this truck. And if you look on the back of his truck, there's Uriel, he's waiting for us, but you can see 3,630 pounds. Now I'm gonna climb up here and it's gonna tell you how much I weigh. And it's not gonna be 250, I hope. It should balance right out at 200. Hey, look at that. Okay, here comes Nate. Hand me the, it's really high up here. Okay, now I don't know where you're, got it? Okay, so let me crawl up a little bit higher. Okay, so can you look down inside? Okay, so you see these augers that are in there? They look like big blenders. He's going to go ahead and turn them on. Now, bear in mind, this truck is almost empty. There's very little in this truck, and you can see how this turns. And that's how we mix up all of our feed. You can see the knives on it so that it cuts up the hay and makes it'll cut them to about 3 to 4 inches. You can see how fast this thing will turn. We can put almost 50,000 pounds, 25 tons in this truck at one time for a load. And so this is a ration that we feed to our close-up feed cows. And so now, and this is the end of the line for this ration. It's ready to be fed. And you can see that once we get down here, you'll see the cows waiting to eat. Whoops. Okay, he's going to unload this thing, and we're going to be able to watch him do that. Like I said, Uriel's been working for us for a long time. He does a phenomenal job for us. The backbone of our dairy is truly our employees. And I would be in a bad place if I didn't have the quality employees that I have at this point. They always tell me, we do what we do so you can go do what you do. And that's opened a lot of doors for me with ministry and other things. And so now you can imagine how hard it is to back this thing up and be that close to the cows. Now the cows are not going to get hurt by this. It looks like they are free to back out, and they will back out and get out of the way. We've never had a cow get hurt while we're feeding like this. And so normally he drives straight through, and he came to the front this time so that we could crawl up there while he still had some food in there. But you can see how these animals are excited to get food. These guys right here are looking, where's mine? We're left out here. And so he's going to come back and he'll dump a little bit more right here for these girls. And so the girls that he's feeding right now, this particular group is all going to have babies within 10 days. So you can see how long this pen is. There's about 100 cows in here, and they're all going to have a calf in the next 10 days. And so you can do the math on that. 100 divided by 10 is 10 calves per day, okay? Our calves are 50% bull, 50% heifer. So we'll have 5 baby heifer calves that we will raise by this time tomorrow, on an average, out of this corral. The nutrition for these animals is very, very important because they're feeding their newborn calf inside them at its largest. And the calf is 85 to 90 pounds inside the moms right now. And that's just a lot of feed just for the animal, just for the mom to eat, to feed the baby. It takes a lot of effort when the baby comes out, and we have to do it to keep them growing. So now you can see he's coming back this direction, and he's going to go right by us here, and he's gonna feed a group on the other side. So remember, kids, if you've got questions about what you're seeing here, make sure at this point, let your teachers know, and we're going to get to all your questions. We're going to try to answer every single one of them because I know there are a lot of questions. I was not raised on a dairy farm, and I had lots of questions when I first started working on the farm. So, and I'm sure that you guys will have a bunch also. And so he's just trying to drop some food right here for these girls that didn't get any. And so there he opens the back gate. Sometimes it can be really difficult to get it completely emptied inside that big cavern. See, and now while these girls are eating, they threw a lever here, and these cows now cannot back out. They are what we call locked up. This here will, Nate, I got it, just a second. Hey, hey. Hey, we got cows going the wrong way here. Okay. Busy little corner right now. All right. So in my Kawasaki mule that Stacy just brought in, we have some ingredients that you guys are going to later take a closer look at. Most of these were in the boxes that were sent to your teachers by the Ag in the Classroom people. Now remember back when I was in the milking parlor and we said that my profit on butterfat was $6.30 at the minimum and $7.20 at the maximum per cow per day. So let's just use the $7.20 value that we get paid for our milk, okay? And because of the scales and everything that are in the computer, I know that it costs me $5.60 per cow per day to feed them the 110 pounds of food that they're going to eat. Now the trick is, oh, here, they're flushing the alleys right now. You guys can see this too. I don't know if you can see the water going between their legs and rushing by. I don't know if you can see that or not, but we're cleaning the alleys as they're standing there, and it cleans their feet, and that gets done every 8 hours also. And at the same time, my employees that are working in there right now check out the cows to make sure that the ones that are getting ready to calf, we take a close look at them. So, and I'm sorry if I'm jumping from topic to topic right now, but I got to show you this stuff as it happens. So in this bin here, we have soybean meal. Okay, this is a protein source for us, and every cow right now gets 1.7 pounds of soybean meal per day. Okay, and that's about 50% protein, and you guys will learn more about that as we go. The next ingredient I have is dried distiller's grain, which is an interesting product because it's a byproduct of ethanol. It comes from the Midwest where they make corn ethanol that we burn in our cars for gasoline. Each cow gets almost 3 pounds of this. So there's 3 pounds of this product. And here's the main staple for us, and that's ground corn. This is corn seed completely ground up into less than 40 microns. And so the protein is very low in this product, but it's very, very high in carbohydrates. So we don't feed corn for protein. We feed corn for the carbohydrates and energy that it gives the cows. The last product that I've got here is our cottonseed. And some of you, if you visited our farm before, maybe some of you have played in this before. Um, it's kind of like snow, but it makes you itch and sneeze a lot more than snow because of all the lint that's in it. But every cow right now is getting 3.6 pounds of this, probably 4 or 5 of these coffee cans full of cottonseed. It's very high in protein, okay? And you can also see the fiber, the little fuzz that's around it, the cotton, that helps slow the corn or the feed down um, going through the system of the cows. It's kind of uh, like a fiber pill, so to speak, and it just allows the feed to slow down a little bit and stays in their system longer for longer digestibility. So the finished product of our grains with everything mixed together looks like this. And every cow gets 30 pounds of this mix. So it'd be like a wheelbarrow load of this product gets fed. Now I can throw that here and they will lick that up so quick because it's got some molasses in it, and they really like this. And then we mix it with the hay, and if we had to feed like this all the time, and there's dairies that do, they still feed their cows by hand, um, we'd be here for a long day. So we know that it costs $5.60 per cow per day to feed them. So you can do the math, okay? We spend on a daily basis just feeding our milk cows $5.60 times 1,700 equals $9,520 per day just to feed our cows. In a month, I spend $285,600 on food just to feed and keep our cows full. Okay, now that includes a lot more ingredients than what we've got right here. It includes the silage and the hay and a couple other ingredients. But in the end, we have a nutritionist that works for us that makes sure that our cows are eating properly, that they're not getting fat, that they're not getting skinny. We have a nutritionist that comes at least once every 2 weeks and walks through the animals and looks at them, looks at our butter, fat, and solids tests and how much milk we're getting, and then we'll just tweak our ration just a little bit. And it takes so much knowledge to do that you can get a doctorate degree in nutrition, and I don't have that. So we hire a nutritionist who's on retainer to help us balance our rations, to feed them as cheap as we can, to get as much milk out of them with the highest components that we can. And I know that I threw a lot of information at you in 30 minutes, probably more than I probably should have. But I get excited when I'm doing this stuff because when I sat in school, especially junior high, how many of you ever said, "What do I gotta learn this for? It's stupid." Well, I'm telling you, I wished I paid more attention when it came to math class, and I was able to do the math problems and figure a lot more of this out, because you're learning math for a reason, and that is everything you do in life involves math. And I'm hoping that later, when you guys open your boxes and you get your tools and stuff, that you'll be able to balance some rations and have a good time doing that. And you may need to watch this again to try to pick apart some of the detail that I gave you in case you missed it. I think they'll post it soon back on their website so that you can watch it. watch it one more time. So I am out of time. We're going to move over here by the animals, and we're going to be taking some questions from you guys. And I'm going to do my best to try to answer all of your questions. And remember, this is all coming off the top of my head. So I'm going to do my absolute best to answer your questions. We're going to come stand over here, and I'm going to, we'll just stand right here while I answer some questions. So I'll throw it back to you, Jessica.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much. We've got some questions in here from the 5th grade class at Victor Point Elementary School in Silverton. And
Okay.
the first one that we're going to ask is, how many times a day do the cows get fed?
Okay, so that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. They get fed one time a day, but as you can see, the alleys are pretty wide. So we put a lot of food down, and then every 3 hours we have a tractor that comes by, and somebody's driving the tractor, and they do what we call push up the feed. And essentially what that does is it takes this feed that's out of reach right now, and the tractor pushes this in, so that every 3 hours it's like being fed all over again. They get all new fresh feed virtually every 3 hours, because in a 3 hour time period they can pretty much eat what they can reach. We want our animals either eating, lying down, or drinking. And when they come out of the milking parlor, there's a lot of water for them that's available right over here. And let's go over here, Nate. And so they drink 60 gallons of water a day. Um, they drink a lot of water. And so this water trough, which is the one coming out of the milking parlor, is the water trough that most animals will stop and drink at. We've got 4 of these on their way back to their corrals so that they can stop and drink at any time they want. So, okay, next question.
Okay, and just another reminder that now in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, the chat box for questions is open, and it looks like we've got some coming in. And our next question is going to be, how many days does it take before the milk is ready to be consumed?
Wow, good question. The milk that is being consumed or being made right now at 2 o'clock this afternoon, 1:30 this afternoon, will be picked up at 4:30 in the morning. It'll go straight to the processors. It will be ready for the shelf tomorrow night. So by Friday morning, the milk is on the shelf, ready to go. Very, very quick turnaround. The stores want it clean. They test every load for bacteria and for, of course, antibiotics, but we don't use any antibiotics at our dairy herd right now. And so, but they get it to market as soon as they possibly can. But ours are picked up every morning, one load at 4:30 in the morning, one load at 7 o'clock in the morning.
All right,
Good
our next
question.
question is from the Triad School, and it is, how much of the annual income is spent on upgrades to the dairy?
Wow. Percentage of income for capital expenditures would be, well, it varies, because if I need new roofs all of a sudden, it's big. And we're on our second set of roof. We're starting to replace them, but I would say it's anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 a month that we spend on maintenance, just maintenance, keeping the, watch your step, Nate, keeping the rusted gates from breaking off. And after 30 years of being here, the place is starting to show some wear and tear, and we're spending more and more on maintenance just to keep it operable. We just put all new stalls and stanchions in. All of these stalls are a year old, but we found out when we did that, this post was rotten. So we had to jack the whole barn up, put all new posts in, and set it back down again, one post at a time. And so it took us a long time to get all that done. So capital expenditures are getting bigger and bigger as the longer we're here. Good question.
All right, our next question is, what brand name is your milk sold under?
You know, I just found out this morning that virtually all of our milk, all but the weekend milk, is going to Alpenrose. And I didn't know that until this morning. And so up in Portland, they're bottling all of our milk into Alpenrose milk. And they're also using it as Dairy Gold chocolate milk. There's a lot of it being used for Dairy Gold chocolate milk and the new FIT program. So you're ready to turn these loose? Okay, so my employees just walked by all these cows and we showed you that they were locked up. I'm gonna turn them loose right now and you'll see them all take a step back and then they're gonna go look for some fresh food. Um, so now they can back out and move. We try not to lock our cows up more than a half an hour at a time because I don't like standing in one spot more than a half an hour and they don't really like it either. But um, we do that in order to do health checks and health walks on them. Next question.
All right, our next question is, how many different species of cows are there in your dairy?
Right now we're milking 100% Holsteins, but we have started to introduce crossbreeds where we breed a Jersey breed to a Holstein. Um, so we're getting some Jersey crosses, some Swiss crosses. But predominantly it's the black and white Holsteins or pure white ones. Those are Holsteins too. Um, we used a sire a long time ago that we had a lot of calves that were born pure white, and it's really unusual. So, but all Holstein. Next question.
All right. So our next question is, how many pounds does the average cow weigh?
Good question. So the cows that are walking behind me right here probably weigh 1,400 pounds to 1,550, somewhere in there, give or take. These cows are all pretty far along in calf. And so um, they're a little bit bigger. The animals over here to my right are these animals just had babies within a week ago, and so they've lost the size of the calf and everything else. These would probably average between 1,200 and 1,300 pounds, and so it varies. So I would say 1,300 is a good herd average for all of our cows.
All right. So our next question from Miss Pickett's class is ethanol grain safe for human consumption?
Absolutely. They used to throw it away. They didn't think it had any feed value. Most of the products that we feed our cows came from products that were discarded and thrown away into the landfills 50, 60 years ago because we didn't know and understand how to utilize them for feed. And so safety is a big issue. We test our loads of all the grains that come in, and there's certain specifications that each load has to meet, certain specifications for soybean meal, canola, all of them that we feed, and they all have to pass certain standards before we can feed them. So, but is it safe for the cow to eat, thus the human to drink their milk? Absolutely, it's very safe.
All right. So our next question is, do different breeds of cattle give different amounts of milk?
Good question, and that's why we're using some Jerseys to cross with the Holstein. A Jersey cow, a very good Jersey cow, will only give about 75 pounds of milk a day, but they give 4.5% butterfat. So it's less milk, a lot more butterfat. And the cheesemakers love Jersey milk. All of Tillamook cheese is made with Jersey milk because their components are quite a bit higher. Now they've got some Holstein herds that are mixed in also, but for the most part, Tillamook is a Jersey bred co-op. Um, People like Alpenrose that are making milk and putting it in a jug and selling it in the gallon jug or half gallon or making yogurt and stuff. They don't need that kind of butterfat and solids. And so the Jersey gives 75, a good cow with 4.5% fat. The Holsteins, a good Holstein gives 4%. Average Holstein is 3.5%, but they give a lot more milk. And so it's just a matter of preference.
All right, so our very last question for this virtual farm field trip is going to be another math question, and that is, how much milk does a single cow produce in 1 year?
In 1 year. Okay, so you guys will have to do the math on this. Our animals average 88 pounds per cow per day. And so they milk on average 305 days out of that year in a perfect scene. Okay, the rest of the time out of that year is they're dry or whatever. And so if you add all of that together, it comes to about 26,840 pounds, and you got to divide that by 8.6 pounds per gallon of milk, and that comes to 3,120 gallons of milk a year per cow. So roughly 10 gallons a day while they're producing milk. Okay. Some cows will give 15 gallons of milk a day. We were looking at an animal this morning that was giving over 150 pounds of milk. Those are very rare, but it's not uncommon. So to see numbers that high. So, any more questions? This has been a great trip.
All right, I think that about does it for our time this afternoon. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today for this virtual farm field trip. And thank you so much, Louie, for taking the time to show us around and to talk to us about cow nutrition and what goes on at your dairy.
Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope we can do it again soon. Have a great afternoon, guys. See ya. Bye.